Hello Leo, Leo Rising, Leo Moon people. This is your weekly astrological and card horoscope for the week starting November 6th, 2017. And a quick reminder for all of you out there, remember if you ever want to get a session with me, you do need to go to my website, integrativemysticism.com. So what is going on with your astrology this week anyhow? Well, on Thursday we've got the Sun in Scorpio in your 4th house of home, family, as well as your domicile and property, forming a lovely sextile to Pluto in your 6th house of work, reputation, physical health, as well as your schedule, productivity. And this can be a wonderful opportunity or a wonderful energy when it comes to things like home economics or the opportunity to start making some money out of the home. This could be something that actually comes to you from your job, whether it's take-home assignments or perhaps an opportunity to telecommute. If you're looking for work where you could telecommute, or you could be, just simply trying to find a job that would allow you to work from a home office, this is going to be an especially lucky day. This can also be a really good time for those of you trying to regain a sense of home-life balance. If something has come up, we can no longer maintain the work schedule or the home schedule that we've had before, a compromise will be found. On Saturday, we've got Saturn, planet of restrictions and boundaries, in your 5th house of love and romance and relationships with your kids, forming a very strong and harmonious, by the way, trine to Uranus, currently in your 9th house of travel, government legal proceedings, as well as your education, higher education, and your spiritual life. And this trine brings order to chaos wherever it goes. And if something has been chaotic in perhaps a conflicting schedule, creating maybe too much space in a relationship, maybe we have a bit of a long-distance relationship due to travel for work demands, education demands, or we've been dealing with any kind of issues regarding a legal situation around a relationship, or perhaps, again, an education issue regarding a child, we will be bringing order to this chaos. If we've been having a hard time maybe helping our kids in school, or maybe our kids having the right school to go to, the right college or university, maybe there's been something going on again where we're trying to plan a trip with a sweetheart and things just don't seem to be adding up, Saturn trine to Uranus will again be working on trying to take all of those X factors out of the equation. And again, we have something solid we can work from. So what's going on with your cards this week? Well, for your spiritual advice, we do have the card of the Talisman. Now remember, we're working with different oracle this week. We're working with the Madame Endora's fortune cards, my favorite. And this is actually talking about, well, if you read the text, I don't know if you can read the text, it basically says, you are destined to succeed. And with the Talisman, that's basically talking about not being afraid to go where it may seem a bit tense, a bit dangerous. Talismans are protective amulets, they're protective charms. They are there to, to ward off negativity or to ensure good luck and good fortune. And this week, this is talking about a safety being promised to you, especially where you may perceive a risk that may not necessarily be a risk at all. If you're worried about having that conversation when it comes to perhaps a partner, a family member, maybe we're trying to, consider a move or some kind of big shift and we're thinking about risk versus reward. The Talisman is basically saying it's not a time to be afraid to put yourself out there, and it may not necessarily be the biggest risk you think it is. Maybe that's just impressions you're getting from others who've gone before, but it may not necessarily be true for you. For your Earth sector, when it comes to your work and finances, we do have the 5 of Cups upright. And this card could bring some stress when it comes to the work front, I'm not going to lie. The 5 of Cups does often indicate we're discussing disappointment, we're discussing a sense of loss, a sense of grief, and this may be over some kind of project or plan or initiative that isn't panning out. And with the 5 of Cups upright, this may have been a project that you were hoping to get across. This may be us having to give up on something that we know is not working out. Usually with the 5 of Cups, we're getting disappointed by something that we already feel is on its way out, and it's almost like we're just kind of fighting the flow that's taking it away. The 5 of Cups, however, does indicate second chances, but we do need to let the first disappointment go. We do need to let the first, loss happen for the second chance to come our way. That's a big lesson when it comes to the 5 of Cups. It teaches us the difference between grief and despair. Grief is, the difference between grief and despair is that with grief you do know it will get better, you will accept better when it comes once you've gone through that process. Despair is the abandoning of all hope. And, you know, again, sometimes fighting in futility. There may be, again, some kind of project, some kind of role, some kind of initiative that we are trying to save from itself. And this week with the Five of Cups, it may finally go, but it's in the letting it go that the second chance gets its chance in the first place. So there is a silver lining there, but you've got to, you know, again, make sure that you're not trying to delay good fortune by trying to avoid what you might see as, again, inevitable disappointment in the first place. So it's an interesting life lesson going on there. There may be a sense of loss this week, but again, a second chance will come later in the month. For your communications with air, when it comes to your friends, your relatives, and the others in your life, we do have the Ten of Cups reversed. And this card, again, is a bit troublesome, I'll be honest, because with the Ten of Cups reversed, we tend to see a situation where somebody is really, really trying to fake it. And they may be trying to fake it for their own mental health's sake. You know, because with the Ten of Cups reversed, we see a situation where a person is trying to make something look extra, extra special, extra, extra perfect, to cover up for something that is anything but. And with the Ten of Cups reversed, this could be a friend or a relative that you're worried about because maybe they are in a bad relationship, or they're in a bad friendship, or some kind of toxic arrangement, and they're going out of their way to overcompensate for it in the most superficial of ways. The Ten of Cups reversed is saying that it's important not to let yourself get blinded by the BS in this situation, because it's desperate BS. This person may need you to give them a bit of a reality check, but they won't be willing to listen while they're on their soapbox. So take your time and be patient, but at the same time, remember to have empathy if you're going to decide, again, we have free will, to confront this issue head on. For your challenge this week with fire, we do have the Seven of Wands upright. Interestingly enough, in spite of the fact that we've got, you know, some stress this week, the Seven of Wands is saying that, you know, you are actually going to be okay, so long as you remember that you have a, you know, you are still in a position of advantage. You are still in a position to get your way and what you want, even though we're getting disappointments. The Seven of Wands is saying, again, not throwing in the towel, not just, you know, crumbling is going to be the challenge. Because let's face it, sometimes that can happen. You know, if a person has been through a lot and they've got a lot of unprocessed emotional experiences and things like that, you may even be seeing people on your team and people around you start to kind of falter a little bit because they may have hit their limit. And the Seven of Wands upright says you've got to stand up above it. Alright, because the Seven of Wands is saying you can see all of this through, you know, and it will actually still turn into a victory. We've got the Talisman, which is basically, again, talking about you're going to succeed, but it's sort of like, look, your challenge is to be undaunted, you know, and again, sometimes it's hard to do that. A lot of people, you know, if we're highly discourageable, you know, it can be very hard to be undaunted or to keep going in the face of discouragement. But this week, you know, again, your challenge is to basically stand up and, you know, and continue to resist in spite of the fact that, you know, again, we may be having some disappointments coming left and right because others around you, again, may decide to, you know, throw in the towel, and possibly prematurely. For your emotions with water and your romantic life, we do have the High Priestess upright. And this card can indicate some help coming from an outside source when it comes to either finding your love or getting something with you and your love back on track. The High Priestess can show up as a friend or an ally, showing up in your life to perhaps actually matchmake you with somebody. This has been seen for a long time as a traditional matchmaker card. And this would actually be a very personal type of matchmaking. This isn't a, you know, an anonymous matchmaking kind of situation. And for those of you who are currently coupled, the High Priestess could be actually giving over a piece of information, or perhaps actually maybe giving out some of her own benefits, her own clout for you and a partner to use to your advantage, especially if you and your partner are looking for some outside help or an ally to get some kind of dream or goal realized or at least underway. And we may have been kind of fumbling in the early beginnings. This person's basically almost going to give you their VIP card to use instead, and you may actually want to accept. That's all. That's all, folks. I was about to say something else and it completely left me, so we're just going to let that go there. That's your horoscope, Leo. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And of course, if you ever want to get a session with me, you can always follow the links below. or go to integrativemysticism.com.